early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month, I got that full. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, Lamont Tyson, hemmed up in a bunker somewhere deep in the heart of North Carolina, getting prepared for the snowstorm we're about to get. The perfect weather to be snowed in and booed up. Perfect weather for that. We're going to be discussing today Cinners, the hit original film that my boy Ryan Coogler did so much work for, broke records with 16 Oscar nominations. We got that coming your way. Mercy, the movie review. Chris Pratt, an actor I dearly love, especially him playing Star-Lord. Did the movie hold up? Or was it a great value Black Mirror? Of course, I'm going to tell you the truth. And then a quick little snippet of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, things I like, things I didn't like, who should be watching it. We'll get into all that in a minute. The Oscars is coming around, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who's watching. By the way, shout out to everybody who's watching. Y'all ain't seen me much this week because I've been dealing with the flu. I'm still dealing with it now. Hell, I wouldn't even have came up here tonight if it wasn't for the Khaleesi of the Andals, breaker of chains, and all that stuff. She was supposed to be meeting me up here to do a review, and it's her birthday. She's not here. But if y'all know her, you have her Cash App, send the sister a little bit of money so she can have a good birthday. And the flu, or anytime you get sick, it puts your mortality right in your face. It makes you think these petty squabbles I've had with certain people, things I said I was going to do and I haven't done, being sick makes you recount and think about those things. So I just want to say to people, anything that you feel like you've been taking for granted over the last couple of weeks or years in some cases, as the white dudes used to say, get her done. Get her done. Let's go ahead and start with Cinners. Here's a little round table of what's going on with Cinners, and then I'll get you guys responses on what you think.
Oscar nomination day. Now, while there are some big snubs to talk about, let's talk about Ryan Coogler's Cinners. Think about this. His film made history, earning the most nominations for a single film in the history of the Academy Awards. So let's go live to the Hollywood Reporter, Scott Feinberg. Scott, good to see you today. So, is that a real? That's not a real Oscar there behind you. It's a pretty cool one, though.
It's a Lego Oscar, you know.
A
not
Lego.
Yes.
Yeah, a little easier to get that one. So, Cinners really making the news in the headlines today. Broke the 14 nomination mark set by films like Titanic and, of course, All About Eve's. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. I know that one. So what can you tell us about original blockbusters and its impact with audience and critics where Cinners is concerned?
It's a big thing for movies that are certainly original at a time when it's an uphill climb to get them made. It's a big thing for Warner Brothers, which has not just Cinners but also the next highest nominated film, One Battle After Another, with 13 nominations, which in any other year would have been something really that we'd be talking about first and foremost. Just those two movies, both from a studio that's being sold at the moment, are the kind of the biggest standouts of the year, and will be up against each other not only for Best Picture but in 10 other categories as well.
So something else that gets a lot of talk this time of year, the snubs. And a lot of people are wicked peeved, and I'm substituting the second word there, yes, over wicked. What are you hearing there in Hollywood?
Well, first we should say you're correct. Wicked, after the first one, I believe received 10 nominations just a year ago. This one, Wicked for Good, received none, not even for Ariana Grande, who'd been nominated by every of the other major precursor groups that kind of come before the Oscars.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What do I think? I'm happy for it. I'm happy that it was an independent film thing, that he cut his own deal. But y'all, please don't take my card, because get this, I haven't seen it. I have a streaming service that has it. I still haven't seen it. I respect the way he went about doing his business. I respect the way he directed. I respect the crew he brought together. Everybody in my circle has talked about how good Sinners is, and I have still not watched it yet. I need to find somebody to watch it with so I can see if it's everything y'all claim it to be, if it's worthy of 16 nominations. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And in terms of Wicked, from every account that I've read, this second Wicked was pure T Oscar the Grouch trash. So I'm not surprised that Ariana Grande and Wicked ain't getting nothing. And I just gotta be honest. Cynthia Erivo running around her seemed like a little teenage child running around with a new puppy. I mean, I've seen Cynthia Erivo jump in front of, it was some dude trying to, I don't know, he wasn't trying to attack Ariana. He was trying to run up on her, get an autograph. Cynthia Erivo threw herself in front of her. I'm like, huh, chick, really? Ariana Grande like that? So I didn't see it, didn't care to see it, and I've heard nothing but horrible. But I've heard nothing but good when it comes to Sinners. So you guys let me know what you think. And guess who's here, ladies and gentlemen? Our resident birthday girl, right on time. It is the Khaleesi, and it looked like she's driving.
No, I wouldn't talk and drive. I wouldn't talk and drive. I am riding and driving, but I would not have missed this live because I love you guys.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she says she loves us, but she still comes up here like this is TBS Superstation in 1991. But you know, it's all good because I know y'all, she has her fan club on this channel. That's her Cash App link. It is her birthday season. You know, she loved throwing up the Aquarius, and it's Aquarius season from now to the end of the year. So hit that Cash App link for a sister. Make sure she has a good birthday. Lex, the movie Mercy. I saw it. I have thoughts. I want to know what you think. But before we do, let me tell everybody who's in it what this is about. So, ladies and gentlemen, the movie Mercy came out yesterday. Stars Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson. And here's what it is. In a futuristic Los Angeles, the Mercy Court has been developed to use AI judge to put defendants on trial for violent crimes. They're given 90 minutes to prove their innocence or be executed via a sonic blast. Detective Chris Raven, played by Chris Pratt, is on trial for the murder of his wife, Nicole. Presiding over his case is AI judge Maddox. And this thing is written by Marco Van Belli, produced by Chris Roven, directed by Timur. I'm not about to butcher this Russian man's last name, but other things he's done for those that want to know his career, he has done, let me see here, Mr. Timur. He has done Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Screen Life, War of the Worlds, and The Night Watch. Okay, Lex the Targaryen. I'll let you get this first. Tell us your overall thoughts of the film, what you like, what you didn't like.
I thought the film was really good, actually. I really did like it. I like the lady who played the AI judge because I don't know, her facial expressions were really on point. So I think that they did her well in that aspect. But I thought the storyline was good. You didn't like it? I feel like you didn't like it.
No. I did not like. Let me put it to you this way. Before we break this down, folks, this will be a spoiler review. I thought the visuals were pretty good. I like the concept of what they tried to do with the movie, but I felt like the script was lacking. I felt like they could have had a better story. That's the best way I can put it. It was in 3D. It was in IMAX. I didn't think it was 3D worthy. And I'm not saying that the movie is bad. So, you know, movies have many elements. You have the script, the story, the visuals, the acting. Everything was pretty decent, except for I thought the story was a little lackluster. Lex, that was my thoughts. And when you left the theater, how were you feeling?
I felt good. I thought the twist at the end was not to
Oh,
be expected. Like
oh Lord.
the with Jax being involved, you felt like that was predictable.
I predicted it. I knew it. So, folks,
Wow.
let me say this. When you have, first of all, sometimes people who don't like spoilers get on my nerves because Lex, we knew good and damn well Chris Pratt was not going to go to jail or be executed. Is that spoiling the film? If I tell you that, is that spoiling something? You knew that. So whenever you have a film that's centered around this type of person, you know somebody close to him is probably part of the plot. And since his wife was dead, we only got like, visions of her. And I knew his daughter didn't do it. The only other person that was close to him was Jack, his partner. And that got on my nerves a little bit because she's an indigenous person and wound up being an antagonist. So, Lex, are you ready to spoil this thing up?
Yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't mark her as an antagonist. I would say more of a vigilante because she did it for a greater good. So I would really mark her as a vigilante, to be honest.
A vigilante can be an antagonist.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
You know, so folks, like we said already, this film is in the backdrop of Los Angeles area. Crime is so bad in Los Angeles that they need to get some new law enforcement. So they decide not law enforcement, but judiciary. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're looking at the movie, the crime looks bad now that they got the Mercy AI judge. How bad was the crime before? And they break all the different areas into zones, literally a war zone. And of course, who had war zone number one, Lex? Wasn't it like the Beverly Hills area? Didn't they have war zone number one?
Yeah, I do believe that that's what that was. It was crazy. It
It
looked
was
like Skid
nuts.
Row, though.
It did. It did. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Pratt, like we've already said, is a cop, a good cop. And the partner is Jax. She's a decent cop too. And Chris gets framed for the murder of his wife. And they him up literally within like 90 seconds. They throw this man in that chair, didn't investigate nothing, and tell him you right now you're sitting at like a 98% rating for being convicted and dying. You got to get your score down to 92%. And they literally have him connected through the AI judge played by Rebecca Ferguson, who I thought was one of the better parts of the movie. They can tap into anybody's bank records, security cameras, your home cameras, all that. And I forgot to tell y'all, Chris Pratt has a daughter that he loves who is up here running around on fake ass Instagrams. Lex, what do you, in regards to what I've said so far, anything you want to add?
No, I thought that it was actually, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse because if you make it about the situation and you had to go through somebody's like the records the way they did, like everybody business could try to defend yourself. Now I'm broke. I owe this
Yep.
person.
Exactly. And so as Chris is trying to get this thing figured out, we get flashbacks of his wife. We're going through her business. Come to find out this hoe was stepping out with a coworker. Excuse me, not a coworker, a chef. That's what she was doing. She was getting her back blown out by a chef. They trying to pin the murder of the woman. Yes, yes, once you go black, folks, you don't go back. She was getting that long dong. They questioned him. He's innocent. And now we go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and dive on into the twist so we can get to Lex's good part. So as they're going through the evidence, you start to see a twist in the AI judge. Almost like she's tweaking, like she has a crush on Chris. You start noticing it. You don't see it full blast just yet. But as they get to digging into this woman's work, she's working at like something like a meth lab, and there was some chemicals she had that went missing. Come to find out, there was a co-worker there who took those chemicals because this co-worker had a beef with Chris, the AI judge, and everybody involved in setting up Mercy, because Mercy has only had 18 people involved. And the very first person that got convicted by Mercy AI was this man's brother. So he's trying to set up Chris, killed the wife, and now the AI judge, who has been pretty harsh to Chris, is all on board for everything Chris is trying to do to get out of this. And Homeboy took those chemicals because he's about to drive an 18-wheeler right down there where the AI judge is at and blow up everything. And along the way, he gets the man's daughter. Lex, jump on in there.
I just thought it was really random. Like he knew where the little girl was gonna be at, and snatched her up. Why was he even outside? Like it was just a lot going on. But as far as the storyline, honestly, I think you covered it pretty well. I don't think that she had a crush. I think that every time she acted and it wasn't your typical AI, she almost became opinionated on her own. It caused her to glitch. If you notice, it's almost like she had to fight through her own AI restraints to do what's the right thing on her side, and then vice versa for him. He had to humble himself and realize like she's not the say all be all, because things like, such can happen. So I think it was like a fairground type of thing versus a crush.
Well, all I know is she glitched like a teenage girl that had a crush on the senior football player. She was just glitching and tweaking. That's why I know she wanted to give up the digital panty draws to Chris. Now, mind you, Lex, this is the question I had. Isn't AI supposed to be like, the reason they got AI is because they wanted something impartial, something that was just going to go by the evidence, no feelings, no emotions. She was able to, shoot off missiles and planes, trains, and airplanes to try to stop dude from getting there. And Chris was like, no, I got to save my daughter. And so, Lex, we were put in a situation where it's one life versus thousands of lives that could be hurt down at this mercy court. Shouldn't the AI had said, you know what? Sorry, Chris, your daughter got to go.
She should have, but I think the movie's point was to prove to you not even AI can be impartial. Like everything will always have an opinion, because artificial intelligence is what? Fake intelligence coming from what? Okay, so prime example, slavery existed. We all know that. You have some people that say it's good. You have some people that say it's bad. That's an opinion. The fact is it existed. So what do you do with that? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's always going to come down to some sort of opinion leaning one way or the other. It's impossible not to. It's human nature. And artificial intelligence is basically the mind of a fake human. So you screwed either way.
Yeah. And folks, one of the bigger twists that happened at the end, we learned that Jack, Chris's partner, was involved in the cover-up of the man that was trying to ram that truck into Mercy. She was involved in the cover-up with evidence because Homeboy's brother, the first person to go through the Mercy trial, was innocent. And the brother knew it because he was on the phone with the brother. But Jack had evidence that could have pretty much exonerated him. How did you like that twist? Lex, how did you like that twist with Jack?
I personally, I said it. I wasn't expecting that at all. To be honest, I thought the entire thing was very much so a good twist, and honestly, an overall good story. I don't have any complaints or critiques on that, which is very rare, but I liked it.
Well, folks, there you have it. It's decent. It's not worth going to see it in 3D, in my opinion. Lex liked it, and she's just as complex when it comes to watching film as I am. And so, Lex, what would you rate this film? 0 to 10, 0 to 10, 0 being trash, 10 being best.
Definitely get us a solid 8. I get us an 8.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, she's more generous than me, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give this thing a solid 6.5. 6.5 is entertaining for sure, but I would have rather them done a different story. I would have rather them got one of these corrupt folks who was in the Jeffrey Epstein files and get them. But it does make you think that what would happen if someone literally could get access to your stuff and everybody else's stuff on the drop of a dime. It makes you think. It makes you think. You'll leave the theater thinking. So that's what we think about the film. Y'all post your comments down below. We've got Lex, the Targaryen, the Khaleesi of the Andals. She is here because her show came out on Sunday and I didn't get a chance to help her review it because I was sick. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And I'm going to let her take the floor first because I want to hear her overall thoughts and get some names of some of these people that I'm trying to remember. Lex, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. What did you think about the first episode?
I was so very pleased. I thought it was awesome. It's gonna be a very cute tale. Like I said, from the beginning, I really got a feeling of Arya and the Hound type of vibes, like where it's cute but funny. One of them is just tolerating the other one. They don't really want to like them, but they end up learning to care about them. It's gonna be a nice tale, and like even meeting Dunk, like you feel bad for him. He was an abused kid that learned to basically love his captor. If you want to be honest, the Theon Greyjoy syndrome, like when you're a ward of somebody, like you are basically up under them, and depending on the circumstances. But from my understanding, I could be wrong. I think he was sold to him, or he was up under him, whatever the case may be. We saw that he used to get slapped all the time, like the guy would belittle him all the time, and he just wanted to grow up and be a knight. And here comes sweet little egg, you know what I mean? And to give the lineage, the egg that we see in the show, the bald-headed little child is going to grow up to be the Mad King's grandfather, meaning that is Daenerys' great grandfather. John as well. That is Daenerys, John, and Rhaegar's great grandfather. So it's pretty close to Game of Thrones and a little bit after House of the Dragon. So it's perfectly in between. But we have heard these characters mentioned several times. So, I mean, everybody should know how this story is going to end. But, I mean, we'll take it step by step if you don't. But you should catch up because we spoil stuff over here.
Yes, folks, I forgot to mention this is a spoiler. Lex loves to flex her muscle because she knows the books, and this is written off of one of George R.R. Martin books. Dunk is the tall guy. He wants to become a knight. He's poor. The show starts out with him burying his sensei, and then you're about to have a hell of a show when they literally show a man shitting underneath a tree and show his hind parts. Poop literally coming
That
out of
was
this dude's
so
butt.
unnecessary. That was the only scene. It was just like, for what, bro? That was so but I mean, that's Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
the world of Westeros always takes stuff too far.
Well, they really want you to know that this man, by the end of his story, they want you to know that he came from literally nothing. This man has 3 horses. I think one of them's name is Thunder. What are the horses' names, Lex?
Oh, I have no idea. My Little Pony, Buttercup, Giddy Up.
Okay. Unicorn. One of them, the one he ride, the white one's name is Thunder, and they will have a role in the story too. And you see, he hears about this tournament. He wants to get into the tournament. He meets Egg very early in the season when he's trying to get some food. Learns that Egg is basically being abducted. Basically, he was basically abducted. Egg wants to come with him. Now, what we don't know until later on is Egg is very, very smart, very cunning, very smart. And later on, Ed gives him his real name. Instead of being Dunk, he says, "You will be Sir Duncan." Sir Duncan. And he calls himself Duncan the Tall at that point at the end. But in between, as he's trying to get in this tournament, he's having to get basically the rights from someone who's a higher authority so that he can get some money together to get the things he needs to get into the tournament. And then he winds up linking up with this one Baratheon, one of my favorite names on the show. Where's that picture of Mr. Baratheon? So Lex can. Okay, well, Lex, this is not the Baratheon, but who's this dude and what's his backstory? Uh-oh. Did we lose the Lex? Okay, I think we lost Lex. Anyway, he meets this guy first. He tells him, look, find somebody that'll sponsor you. And so he goes he goes to get some food, and he runs into this guy who ain't going to sponsor him. But then he gets really, really close with this guy he's the king. And they got so close, they was dancing with each other. He got his foot stepped on by this guy. The guy let him wear his crown, ladies and gentlemen. This guy let Sir Duncan the Tall wear his crown. Lex, if you can hear us, tell us about this dude right here, this king, who was just about as tall as Sir Duncan. Uh-oh. Do I got you, Lex? Can you hear me? Who is this dude? What's his, not him, this king, what's his name?
I actually do not know, but it's very comical.
Okay. Well, eventually, ladies and gentlemen, through it all, that guy basically gives Duncan a little bit of confidence. He didn't help him. He didn't pay for nothing, but he got his confidence up. And then at the end of the story is kind of how he met Egg, who basically said, let me be your squire. I know things that you don't know. Basically, he showed off how intelligent he is and how he can have something to offer to this journey of Sir Duncan the Tall becoming a knight. Real cool Easter egg, ladies and gentlemen. Sir Duncan the Tall. Who else do y'all remember from Game of Thrones that was really, really tall? Brienne. My girl Brienne. They are related. And you will get the rest of that story as it goes. Overall, my impressions of this first episode, if you're someone who just got into Game of Thrones and you started watching this before you watch anything else, you're probably not going to be all that thrilled. But for people who have watched Game of Thrones and all the associated shows, we know that sometimes they give you slow burn shows to get that booty ready for the real trauma that's to come. And so if you're a fan of this, if you already watched all the Game of Thrones stuff, you was probably pretty happy with this. But if you're just getting started and you turned this on, you probably was bored with this first episode. And I would tell you to keep on going through it. Let's give us some parting words on what you think about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Lex, tell us what you think is going to happen this season with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Forgive us, folks. We are having technical difficulties with the birthday girl. She's on that birthday Wi-Fi tonight. Yeah, she's on that birthday Wi-Fi, and it's been struggling to get her up in here. But pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. If you've watched the show, let me know what you think. I'll be very, very interested to hear what you think about it. I think that they've got a good foundation for something to go. There's not going to be a lot of dragons up in this thing, but you don't always have to have the dragons to tell a good story of the human beings. And I wonder, how is he going to pull off winning this tournament, become the knight? Because we know he's going to win. And then from what I understand, Egg, his sidekick, is very ambitious, kind of like Tyrion. Whenever you have someone that looks like they're a runt or they can't make it physically, in Game of Thrones, those are always the people you got to watch out for because they tend to overcompensate for what they lack. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself that life game. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, my people, your boy is out.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.